Hello and welcome to the February 22nd, 2026 episode of Nick's News. I am your host Nick, brought to you by Some Budget Studios. That's right, we're paying for this project of ours. We're live every Sunday, and I thank you all so much for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nick's News YouTube channel. This is a program dedicated to bringing good news to counter all of the bad news that we are bombarded with on a daily basis, with the hope of bringing a little bit of joy back to the world. Several of our articles are pulled from sites like goodnewsnetwork.org, Industry Tap, Live Science, Positive.news, and goodgoodgood.co, but we appreciate everything sent in by you, the Nick's Newsies. Usually I'm looking over and reading that list. We don't do as much from Good News Network. It's more Industry Tap, Live Science, Positive.news, and goodgoodgood.co, because, man, those four are rocking it. SciTech Daily is great, too. The places that we find this good news at are amazing, and I highly recommend you all check out the links in our description for all of our articles and make those sites part of your daily recommended viewing. Sure, you could hold off until Sunday and tune in here and have us read a couple, but otherwise, check those out. They can be uplifting and they can really make you feel good. So, hello, everybody. Got a lot of folks going off. Hello, Sanguine. Hello, Becky. Hello, Nico. Hello to the Waypoint Discord and everybody that may still be in that one. Greatly appreciated to have you all with us tonight. All right. So, News Brew. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Speedway Grand Prix is rocketing down the track in the final straightaway. Speedway Grand Prix MMXXV Blackberry Pie Edition is cruising towards a photo finish. This is a 12% ABV Imperial Stout that is brewed from AleSmith Brewing Company that is keeping the pace with blackberries, vanilla, and coffee. This entire month, we're on the Speedway track. You can check out our Instagram to stay in the race. And I absolutely love the color. I am a fan of the color purple, if you couldn't tell by everything Nick's News and the curtains behind me. Hello, Dapper. Hello, Ian. So, yeah, I am looking forward to this one. Blackberry pie. I really like blackberries, so we've got our Harpoon Limited Edition snifter that has been working overtime these last several episodes. I think this has been the glass of choice every episode for the last, 5 episodes. Hey, Charlie. Hey, Waffle. So, let me blow the gain on the audio since we don't need the Battle Song bottle opener. And we'll get into the theatrics of a 5-minute pour. Every last drop. Becky in the chat asks, would I or could I make a beer slushy? I have had a few beer slushies in my time. Do I know how to make it? Hell no. Would I? Maybe. The blackberry is very tart and very sharp. Wow. A lot of sugar to that one, too. Yeah, I like the purple. Hell, the beer even looks a little purple. I have had a couple of slushy beers. They have been dubbed ice cream beers. There is a brew house close to my home called Lost Art Brew House, or Brewing, Lost Art Brewing, and they make ice cream beer, and it is magical. It is straight up wizardry alchemy. It's crazy. So, the carbonation can be difficult, especially with a slushy machine, so I'd be willing to give it a try. Let's see. We'll see. Shoutouts. Graphics by Ashford specializes in graphic design, video editing and effects, and photo editing. Besides being Nick's News' awesome graphic artist, Grayson bills himself as a bomb-ass bitch. You can contact him through his Instagram. Link is in the description of our video. We're also going to do a shout out to Heretic Coffee, which has once again hit our list of supremely awesome people. Recently, they donated $10,000 to the Pongo Fund, Oregon's only full-time charity that's dedicated to fighting pet hunger. When the government cuts support for the most vulnerable communities, the ripple effect touches every corner of people's lives, including the animals who depend on them. Hungry people have hungry pets. We've included links down below to the donation site for Heretic Coffee's free snap breakfast and to the Pongo Fund. To Ashton, Graphics by Ashford, Grayson, our graphic artist, and to Heretic Coffee for donating to the Pongo Fund. Cheers. Okay, then. The last couple of ones that we had the banana cream pie last week, and I'm trying to remember if it was... Which one was... It was the pecan pie, I believe, before that. The banana was really obvious, and it wasn't that bad banana flavor. It was real good banana. And the one before that I know was good. This one, that blackberry, is just... It's almost cloying. It's really, like, kind of constricting my throat a little. Interesting. Chocolate before the pecan. Okay. The chocolate pecan one. Yeah, this one... I'm gonna go for a second sip. The pecan, or the blackberry is just really on the attack with that. Holy crap. That one might be a little difficult to get through tonight, so we'll do our best. News quote. The greatest moments in life are not concerned with self-achievements, but rather with the things we do for the people we love and esteem. And that quote comes from Walter Elias Disney, better known as Walt Disney, who lived from 1901 to 1966, who was an American animator, a film producer, a voice actor, and an entrepreneur. Best known for literally everything that is Walt Disney. I really like that quote because a lot of times we can get hung up on the great moments being the things that we did. And that's not to say that you shouldn't celebrate the things that you do. When you have great achievements in your life, by all means celebrate them. But know that sometimes the greatest moments aren't the ones that were specifically for you. But were rather the things that you did for others, because to them, maybe those were some of the greatest moments. So again, the greatest moments in life are not concerned with selfish achievements, but rather with the things we do for the people we love and esteem. Thank you very much for that quote, Walt Disney. Cheers. Becky says, at least it's not pumpkin beer. Yes. May all pumpkin beer just cease to exist. And if you like pumpkin beer, I'm not apologizing for that statement. Bug update. Apart from the chirping cricket that's over here, and the buzzing of... I'm going to have to change that. It said moth wings behind me. All is pretty good and silent in the bug room. You heard me correctly. Moth wings. Their names are Mistake 1, 2, and 3. You can check out the Instagram and the photos that were posted there of their enclosure. What ended up happening was I purchased a pack of tomato hornworms to feed to the scorpions. Well, the tomato hornworms were already too big for most of the scorpions but Sue, and after he ate one, he didn't need to eat again for a month. In that time, these 3 remaining tomato hornworms started doing some behavior that was indicative of they were trying to pupate. So I went and put them in Elmira's tank right here to my right because Elmira's asleep. And I thought they're not going to bother her. Well, all three of them immediately burrowed down into the dirt, and I forgot about them. Right before last week's episode, I see something moving around in the tank, and I know Elmira's not awake yet. And sure enough, it's one of these sausage-shaped moths that can fit comfortably in the palm of my hand. And I got sad because now I had a moth. So I set up a very large enclosure that's behind me on the floor, and I moved it in. And then the other two came out too in the following days. So now I have 3 5-spotted hawk moths. They're living very well. They're flying quite well in their enclosure, but if this ever happens to me again, I'm going to physically build a bigger enclosure. It's stupid, and I can't kill bugs. I can feed them to other bugs, but I can't kill them myself, so they're going to live with me and have, some good days until they expire. They don't live for very long, but I'm going to make sure that the time that they have is really good, so if you hear something really weird that sounds like a hummingbird flying, that's them. They fly like hummingbirds. It's creepy. Elmira's still napping. Ripley is a well-fed little scuttler. Little John is working on his first burrow, which is really cool. He's moving dirt around like a bulldozer. A member of the Cuddle Puddle revealed itself to not be female, but to be male, and has been hissing and crooning and making all sorts of weird little squeaking noises, which has been pretty cute. So that's been neat. He's got new horns, and he's trying to impress the ladies. Sue is an absolute terror, as usual, just the thing he wants to be. And apart from a couple of noise being made in the bug room, everything is pretty good. That was a long talk about all the bugs, so let's move on to our good news broadcast. And our broadcast is broken up into 4 major categories, and those categories are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and wholesome notes, the really nice touchy-feely articles we like to end on. So we are going to start off in category 1, science and technology. We've got one article in here, and we called it, "What Won't We Fire Rockets At?" I will copy and paste this into the chat if you all want to check it out. And again, the links to all of our videos are in the descriptions of our videos, so you can check them out too if you'd like. Three NASA rockets dive into the electric heart of the Northern Lights. This was published to SciTech Daily on February 20th of 2026 by Miles Hatfield and NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center. NASA just launched rockets into the Northern Lights and captured the hidden electricity that powers them. NASA has successfully carried out 2 sounding rocket missions from Alaska to investigate the powerful electrical forces behind the Northern Lights. The Black and Diffuse Auroral Science Surveyor and the Geophysical Non-Equilibrium Ionospheric System Science Mission, known as NICE, it's spelled G-N-E-I-S-S, but it's pronounced NICE. The G is silent. Both lifted off from the Poker Flat Research Range near Fairbanks. The Black and Diffuse Auroral Science Surveyor launched on February 9th at 3:29 a.m. AKST, or 7:29 a.m. Eastern Standard, and climbed to about 224 miles, or 360 kilometers for folks that haven't gotten as close to the moon as they'd like. Principal investigator Marilia Samara said every instrument, including technology demonstrations, operated as planned and that the team received high-quality data. The 2 rocket NICE mission was followed with back-to-back launches on February 10th at 1:19 a.m. and 1:19:30 a.m. AKST, or 5:19 a.m. and 5:19:30 a.m. Eastern Standard. And the rockets reached peak altitudes of approximately 198.3 miles, or 319.06 kilometers and 198.8 miles, or 319.94 kilometers, respectively. So we're launching these suckers off and away. Principal investigator Christina Lynch reported that all ground stations, sub-payloads, and instrument booms performed as expected, and that researchers are pleased with both the launch operations and the data gathered so far. Auroras appear when streams of electrons travel from space into Earth's upper atmosphere. As these charged particles collide with atmospheric gases, they trigger the familiar glowing ribbons of light. It's similar to electricity flowing through a wire to power a light bulb. But the glow is only part of a much larger electrical loop. In any circuit, current must return to its source. When electrons pour into the atmosphere to create an aurora, others must eventually flow back out to space to complete the circuit. The incoming particle beams are relatively focused, like current moving through a cable. The return flow, however, is far more chaotic. After producing the light display, electrons scatter in many directions. Their motion is influenced by collisions, shifting winds, pressure differences, and changing electric and magnetic fields. Over time, they find pathways back to space, closing the auroral circuit through a complex and constantly changing environment. To truly understand how the aurora functions, scientists must map how this returning current actually spreads through the atmosphere. That requires tracing many possible pathways at once, which is a major technical challenge. We're not just interested in where the rocket flies, said Christina Lynch, principal investigator for NICE and a professor at Dartmouth College in New Hampshire. We want to know where the current spreads downward through the atmosphere. Lynch designed NICE specifically to answer that question. Using 2 rockets and a coordinated network of ground receivers, the mission builds a 3-dimensional picture of the aurora's electrical signature, or structure. It's essentially like doing a CT scan of the plasma beneath the aurora, Lynch said. The 2 rockets were launched nearly simultaneously, flying side by side through the same auroral display along slightly different paths. Each rocket released 4 sub-payloads to gather measurements at multiple points within the glowing region. As the rockets passed overhead, they transmitted radio signals through the surrounding plasma to receivers on the ground. The plasma modified those signals during their journey, similar to how the body tissue alters X-rays in a medical CT scan. By analyzing these changes, scientists could determine the plasma density and identify where electrical currents were able to flow. The result is a large-scale, 3-dimensional scan of the auroral environment. Understanding auroral currents is not just about filling in a missing piece of physics. These electrical flows control how energy from space is distributed through Earth's upper atmosphere. When currents spread out, they heat the surrounding air, generate wind, and create turbulence that can affect satellites that are traveling through space. For years, researchers have studied auroras from the ground. NASA's EASY satellite mission, which was launched in March of 2025, measures the auroral electrical currents from orbit. By combining satellite observations, ground imagery, and direct rocket measurements, scientists gain a more complete picture of the entire system. If we can put the in situ measurements together with the ground-based imagery, then we can learn to read the aurora, Lynch said. During the same launch window, NASA also flew the Black and Diffuse Auroral Science Surveyor mission. This sounding rocket focused on unusual dark patches within auroras that are known as black auroras. Scientists believe these regions may mark locations where electrical currents abruptly reverse direction. The recent launch marked the mission's second attempt, following a 2025 effort that was postponed due to unfavorable weather and scientific conditions. With the successful flight now complete, researchers are analyzing fresh data to better understand how these dark regions fit into the broader auroral circuit. Auroras form where space interacts with Earth's atmosphere. Electric currents, charged particles, and countless collisions combine to create these vivid displays. Sounding rockets provide a rare opportunity to fly directly through them, placing instruments exactly where the processes unfold. Through short, precisely timed missions, NASA is turning fleeting flashes of light into deeper insight about how space weather shapes our planet. That is really neat. To everybody involved with the NICE rocket, or with Project NICE, the Black and Diffuse Auroral Science Surveyor and the Geophysical Non-Equilibrium Ionospheric System Science Mission, discovering how auroras work. Cheers. Hello, Nicholas. I see the question has been asked, what kind of pets are in the tank behind you? So, off camera, over here, I've got a giant vinegaroon. Next to that, in a tall tank that's just before this one, is a tailless whip scorpion. In this tank, oh, there we go, that looks better. In that tank is an emperor scorpion, a subadult emperor scorpion that's named Little John. And in that far tank is an adult Asian forest scorpion named Sue. The boy named Sue. And between them is a tank that can just barely be seen, which is this. Here's the top of it right here. That one houses the Cuddle Puddle, which is a small collection of Madagascar hissing roaches. Thank you for asking. Got a lot of bugs. It's just a lot of bugs. Okay. We're going to get out of science and technology. We're going to move on to category 2, health and medicine. We've got one article in this section, and we called it, You'd Think You Needed Those. I will copy and paste this into the chat if you all want to check it out. Man survives 48 hours without lungs in a medical first. This was published to SciTech Daily on February 18th of 2026 by Ankit Bharat and Northwestern University. An artificial lung system sustained a patient for 48 hours without lungs, enabling a life-saving double transplant and highlighting the need for earlier intervention in severe ARDS. People cannot survive without lungs, yet one of Ankit Bharat's patients did so for 2 full days. In a study published in the Cell Press journal Med, surgeons detailed how they extracted a patient's severely infected lungs and relied on a custom-built artificial lung setup to sustain him until donor lungs became available. The team described the strategy as a potential bridge to transplantation for patients who would otherwise die waiting. He was critically ill. His heart stopped as soon as he arrived. We had to perform CPR, recalls Bharat, the lead author and a thoracic surgeon at Northwestern University. When the infection is so severe that the lungs are melting, they're irrecoverably damaged. That's when patients die. The patient was a 33-year-old man diagnosed with acute respiratory distress syndrome, or ARDS, a dangerous condition in which intense inflammation and infection flood the lungs. His illness began with the flu and rapidly worsened, compounded by bacterial pneumonia. As his lungs failed, his heart and kidneys also began to shut down. Doctors determined that a double lung transplant was his only realistic chance to survive. His lungs were beyond saving, and were continuing to drive infection throughout his body. At the same time, he was too unstable to immediately undergo transplantation. His body needed time to recover before it could handle new organs. It's basically in this weird gray zone where you're too sick to get transplanted organs, and you're not sick enough yet to go. So, it really sucks. The heart and lungs are intrinsically connected, says Bharat. When there are no lungs, How do you keep the patient alive? To buy time, Barat and his colleagues created a system that could temporarily perform the essential tasks of the lungs. The device added oxygen to the blood, cleared out carbon dioxide, and supported circulation so the heart could keep pumping effectively, even in the complete absence of lungs. After surgeons removed the infected organs, the patient's health began to rebound. His blood pressure steadied, his other organs started functioning again, and the infection came under control. 2 days later, compatible donor lungs were found, and the team carried out a double lung transplant. More than 2 years after the operation, he is back to his normal routine with strong lung function. Conventionally, lung transplant is reserved for patients who have chronic conditions like interstitial lung disease or cystic fibrosis, says Barat. Currently, people think if you get severe ARDS, you keep supporting them, and ultimately the lungs will get better. However, examination of the removed lungs suggested that recovery would never have happened. Detailed molecular testing revealed extensive scarring and significant immune-related injury. These findings indicated that the damage had progressed too far for the tissue to even heal. For the first time biologically, we are giving molecular proof that some patients will need a double lung transplant. Otherwise, they will not survive, says Barat. At present, only a few highly specialized hospitals have the skill and resources to perform this type of procedure. Barat hopes that in the future, more standardized devices will be developed to help sustain patients with catastrophic lung failure while they wait for donor organs. In my practice, young patients die almost every week because no one realized that transplantation was an option, Barat says. For severe lung damage caused by respiratory viruses or infection, even in acute settings, a lung transplant can be life-saving. The reference material to this article is Bridge to Transplant Using a Flow-Adaptive Extracorporeal Total Artificial Lung System Following Bilateral Pneumonectomy by Yanqing Yan, Anitha Chandrasekhar, He Chul Yang, Teja Devarakonda, Aaron Reynolds, Anjana V. Yeldandi, Ambalavanan Aruna Kalam, Chitaru Kurihara, G.R. Scott Budinger, and Ankit Barat. And it was published on the 30th of January in 2026 in Med. To Ankit Barat and everybody involved with this life-saving process that basically took a person's lungs out and kept them going thanks to artificial means until they could get a double lung transplant. Cheers. That's pretty wild. All right, that's going to get us out of health and medicine. We are going to move on to category 3, Flora and Fauna, aka plants and animals. And we've got 2 articles in this section we want to go through. First one, we're calling The Researchers Are Onto Us. Pinch, 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 pinch. And since I talked about my Emperor Scorpion and my Asian Forest Scorpion, this applies directly to them. I'll copy and paste this into the chat if y'all want to check it out. Man, SciTech Daily is rocking our list today. They're really carrying. Have all 3 of our first articles been SciTech Daily? Oh my gosh, they have been. SciTech Daily's on a roll. Scientists just found a way to predict where deadly scorpions will strike. This was published to SciTech Daily on February 15th of 2026 by the University of Galway. And if you look at the article, the first picture in it is a picture of Heterometrus species, a giant Asian forest scorpion, like our big Asian forest scorpion in the back, Sue. Scientists can now map deadly scorpion hotspots, offering a new weapon against one of the tropics' most overlooked health threats. An international group of researchers have developed a way to identify and forecast hotspots for some of the world's most dangerous scorpion species. By analyzing environmental conditions, the scientists determined which factors allow highly venomous scorpions to survive and spread. Their findings could help authorities better understand where scorpion stings are most likely to occur across tropical regions worldwide. The team combined on-the-ground fieldwork in Africa with advanced computer modeling to estimate where high-risk scorpion species are most likely to be found, and what shapes their geographic range. The results revealed a clear pattern. Soil type is the strongest predictor of where many scorpions live, while temperatures, including both average conditions and seasonal swings, play a major role for certain species. Not all scorpions respond to the environment in the same way. Some species are highly adaptable and occupy broad areas. Others appear limited to very specific habitats, creating concentrated pockets of danger where sting risk may be especially high. The study was carried out by researchers from the University of Galway in collaboration with the University Ibn Zor in Morocco, or the Ibn Zor University in Morocco. Published in Environmental Research Communications, the work focuses on central Morocco, one of the most severe scorpion sting hotspots in the world. The goal is to improve prevention efforts and support the development of better diagnostic tools and antivenoms. Dr. Michael Dugan, head of the Venom Systems Lab at University of Galway and senior author of the study, said, "The findings could save lives. By pinpointing where dangerous scorpions are most likely to appear, trained health authorities can target awareness campaigns, train frontline medical staff, and focus community prevention in high-risk areas, especially protecting children. The approach can be applied wherever scorpions pose a threat, from Brazil to the Middle East and India." Scorpion stings represent an often overlooked public health emergency, particularly in tropical and subtropical regions. More than 2 million people are stung each year. While most cases result in pain and swelling, certain species inject venom that can cause severe illness or even death, especially among children and older adults. Worldwide, scorpion stings are estimated to kill more than 3,000 children every year. Now, my scorpions, for reference, and the emperor scorpion and the Asian forest scorpion, are not very typically dangerous species. Their stings are described as no worse than a bee sting. However, people do have potentially are susceptible to it and can have an enhanced allergic reaction to it. So there is a danger with all scorpion venom. So this is really neat to be able to start mapping out where scorpions live effectively to try to lower the death toll. Although antivenoms are available for several species, doctors frequently face a major challenge. It's often difficult to determine which scorpion delivered the sting, delaying the most effective treatment. Man, I got a cough going on. Could be the beer. To improve the identification of high-risk areas, the researchers applied a computer modeling method known as maximum entropy. This approach allowed them to predict where dangerous scorpions are likely to live and which environmental conditions they prefer. By combining global data sets on soil composition, temperature, and habitat features, the team showed that it is possible to identify potential scorpion hotspots beyond Morocco. This is particularly valuable in tropical regions where detailed species records are scarce. The project involved senior researchers and doctoral scientists from both universities, along with undergraduate students from the University of Galway who travel to Morocco each year as part of their Bachelor of Science Zoology program. Dr. Dugan added, "Overall, we know very little about the ecology of scorpions, their venom, and the best way to treat scorpion stings. Our international collaborative efforts aim to develop new tools for the prevention, diagnostic, and treatment of scorpion stings globally. This requires multidisciplinary, that's a tough word, multidisciplinary teams including public health specialists, clinicians, zoologists, and members of local communities. Fouad Salhi, doctoral researcher at the University Ibn Zor of Agadir and first author of the study, said, "This research shows how biodiversity data can inform public health policies. By combining long-term fieldwork and ecological modeling, we're able to identify where dangerous scorpions are most likely to occur. We aim to have real-world impact, supporting prevention strategies, improving medical preparedness, and ultimately contribute to the reduction of the burden of scorpion stings, both in Morocco and beyond." Dr. Colin Lawton, head of zoology at the University of Galway and co-author of the study, said, "University of Galway is gaining momentum at the center in zoological research, addressing questions of global importance, from fish stock to mammal conservation and animal-borne disease migration. We are very proud to integrate our BSc zoology students into our research activities and international partnerships." If you want to take a look at the article that they read, the reference is Ecological Niche Modeling and Distribution of Scorpion Fauna in Central Morocco at Max and Study by Fouad Salhi, Abderrafia Elbahi, Nahat Ouakri, Colin Lawton, Joad Abu Olaid, and Michael Dugan, and it was published on the 10th of February 2026 in Environmental Research Communications. To everybody involved building global models for figuring out where scorpions like to hang out so that we can lower the number of stings that happen annually, cheers. You hear that? They're onto your game. All right. We called this next one Doing It Better Than AI Ever Could. I will copy and paste this into the chat if you want to check this article out, and I will be gritting my teeth a little bit. A viral video of adoptable dogs choosing their owners was debunked as AI. So this shelter made it a reality. This was published to goodgoodgood.co on February 19th of 2026 by Cameron Baker. In December of 2025, a handful of similar viral videos made their rounds on the internet. In them, a sign to a large room reads, "Here, the dogs choose the humans." What followed was a heartwarming scene of crowds of people sitting in a gymnasium, dogs of all breeds and sizes sniffing at their feet and eventually picking one person to kiss. The person who would then become their owner. But none of it was real. Jeremy Carrasco, an artificial intelligence literacy educator and co-founder of Riddance.ai, debunked the video on his own social media channels, pointing out deformed humans in the background, random and indecipherable items in plain view, and odd human behavior. In addition to more obvious AI tells, like too many hands and legs or oddly timed expressions, Carrasco reminded viewers to think about the logistics and feasibility of what was depicted in the video in the first place. Most shelters, for instance, don't let just anyone go home with an adoptable dog, even if they have a great connection. Pet adoption requires vetting to make sure the animal is a good fit for their future home, and that their potential owners have everything they need to care for the new pet. Look for two-stage situations, Carrasco warned. Look for real humane societies, rather than AI slop pages like babies, dogs, cats. Their videos are made from stolen videos from real humane societies who deserve your views and donations. A real animal shelter, Animal Care Centers of New York, was inspired by this viral pet adoption content and wanted to figure out a way to make it a reality. Enter Love at First Wag. NYCACC has coordinated a meet and greet similar to what was depicted in the AI videos, but with real planning and logistics to make things go smoothly. A handful of these meet and greets are scheduled for February 21st and 22nd, 2026, at the shelter's Queens location. Interested adopters must first fill out a thorough interest form online, which includes questions about where they live, the size and age preferences for a potential match, activities they'd want to do with their dog, behavioral challenges they'd be comfortable caring for, the person's experience with pet ownership, and more. This is your chance to let the dogs choose you, the shelter shared in a social media video, recreating the premise of the original AI content. If you're the one they run to, and you feel that spark, you could be heading home with your new best friend that very same day. Compared to the AI alternative, the shelter has the event set up for a limited number of guests, so as to not overwhelm the animals. During each session, we will have up to 10 adopters in a room, and we'll bring in a couple of medium-large adult dogs one by one to pick their new family themselves, the NYCACC form reads. Leave your adoption up to the tastes of our shelter dogs, or just come in to see if you click with anyone. If you don't find anyone that you're a match with during the group session, our counselors will be thrilled to help pick out some other options. Each participant must also contribute a $25 donation, which can be applied to the adoption fee if they meet their perfect match, held on file for a future adoption, or just gifted to the shelter. Adoption fees include spaying and neutering, microchipping, and vaccinations. Those who choose to pay it forward will help someone else who wants to adopt a dog and can enjoy the experience to give love to our shelter pups, NYCACC shared on social media. Those who adopt a dog during the Love at First Wag event will also get a themed toy and a discount at a local pet store to buy all the supplies they might need. Just a few days leading up to the event, spots were still available for participants to sign up, though social media comments indicate that thousands are excited to see the NYCACC make this concept their own. Finally, something good came from AI. One person wrote on TikTok, I hope the event is a success. I wish more shelters did this, another added. I would 100% donate money just to cuddle dogs. Another joked with a clever strategy to win it all. Me, a vegetarian, rubbing bacon grease on my hands, so I get to take them all. That is really cool. To the Animal Care Centers of New York, for taking this garbage-ass AI video and making it into a reality where they can actually connect real people with real pets who will get forever homes. Cheers. Pretty sure I just ground some enamel off my teeth with that article. Speaking of pets, producer Donna tipped me off earlier. To anybody that's looking for employment, I believe producer Donna told me that Happy Cat Cafe is hiring? Producer Donna, can you confirm for me if that was it? We didn't do it as a shout out, and maybe we should have. I don't know anybody off the top of my head that's looking for new employment, but I know a lot of folks that love to basically have a great time with cats and also could probably do well in a cafe environment, especially one as chill as what we see here in the Grand Rapids area. Just waiting on confirmation. I know there's a little bit of a lag between the video and the chat, so... I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure it was Happy Cat Cafe that's hiring. Yes. Okay. Producer Donna has confirmed it is Happy Cat Cafe that is hiring. So, um, very cool. Okay. So that's going to get us out of Flora and Fauna. We are going to move on to category 4, the Wholesome Notes. These are some really nice ones. One of them has a video that I implore you to watch. It's very quick. It's a very simple one. We're still trying to figure out how to broadcast video. So we're not going to be able to show the video, but it's really cool, and I implore you to watch it when we get to that article. But first, we're going to start off with our first wholesome note. You don't need a big bang to make a big difference. And I'm going to copy and paste that into the chat for y'all to check out. And that's probably going to be the title of the VOD once the VOD goes live tomorrow or Tuesday. Big Bang Theory star Kunal Nair uses GoFundMe to pay random families' medical bills after being one of the world's highest paid TV actors. Kunal Nair, this was published, to Variety on February 17th of 2026 by Zach Sharf. Kunal Nair's recent interview with The Eye Paper is currently going viral on X thanks to the Big Bang Theory actor's revelation that he frequently goes on GoFundMe to anonymously donate to campaigns that provide money towards medical bills for families. Fortune magazine reported earlier this month that Nair's reported net worth is $45 million. Money has given me greater freedom, and the greatest gift is the ability to give back, to change people's lives, Nair said in December. We also support animal charities because we love dogs. But what I really love to do is go on GoFundMe at night and just pay random families' medical bills. That's my masked vigilante thing. So no, money doesn't feel like a burden. It feels like a grace from the universe. Nair starred as Raj Kuthrapali on all 12 seasons of The Big Bang Theory, the hugely popular CBS sitcom that ran from 2007 to 2019. The cast was earning a reported $1 million per episode at the height of the show's success. Forbes even ranked Nair as the world's third highest paid TV actor in both 2015 and 2018, with annual earnings from $20 million and $23.5 million, respectively. The actor told the Eye Paper that wealth does not weigh heavy on him and he's happy to donate to charitable causes. The Big Bang Theory actor's interview gained traction on social media amid the news of James Van Der Beek's friends launching a GoFundMe campaign after the late actor's death in order to raise money for his wife and 6 children who were left out of funds after his cancer battle. The campaign raised $2.6 million. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for showing up for James and his beautiful family. Your kindness has meant more than we can put into words, read a statement from the Van Der Beek's friends. In the middle of deep grief, your support has been a light. It reminds us that love is real, that community is strong, and that James's spirit continues to bring people together. Your respect and understanding will give them the room they need to heal. To the family of James Van Der Beek, especially, and to Kunal Nair for being basically the closest thing we've gotten to Batman yet with regards to people who have wealth and using it for the better of others. Cheers. Becky said, Raj, he was so funny. I actually haven't watched a lot of The Big Bang Theory, but I will say I have enjoyed Raj. I like his character. And he's a good actor, he's a solid actor, and apparently a very solid person, so that's really cool. So one of the moths is flying right now. I don't know if the mic is picking that up, but it is a small hummingbird. Sphinx moths evolved in areas that didn't have hummingbirds, if you would believe that. So their feeding habits and their flight capabilities they fill that niche where hummingbirds weren't around. They have a very long proboscis, like most butterflies and moths do, but they can stick theirs basically straight out, and they use it to sip nectar from and collect pollen from flowers, just like hummingbirds do. And it is really fascinating to watch. I have a hummingbird feeder in the tank, and they go to it without any problem, and they've been feeding from it regularly, so that's been pretty neat. Becky asked, what do I do with them after they pass? So after any of my insects pass, I tend to put them into the soil of the other enclosures, or into the soil of their own enclosure. That adds nutrients back to the soil. All of my tanks are bioactive tanks. I have effectively, apart from needing a supply of water, these tanks are live vivariums and have plants and have soil creatures, and have established biomes going on. So, like when my mantises passed away, I would put the mantises' corpses into these tanks to provide boosts of nutrients to the soil and the plants and the soil critters. I haven't done any like pinning or anything like that. I used to collect bugs, and I would keep like containers of different insects once they'd passed to show off like a collection, but I never did any pinning or dioramas or displays, so it just wasn't my thing. Unless I did something with these moths, my plan is to return them to the dirt of these tanks and kind of add to that soil, to that ecosystem. The circle of life, don't kill me, Disney. So, all that. Alright, this next article is a Heckin Good Boi article. It's very short, and this is the one that has the video, so I implore you, please check this out, and check out the video. It's very short, it's very sweet. Some heroes have 4 legs. Police say dog kept nudging officers, guiding them to a missing toddler's home. This was published to WMUR ABC on February 20th of 2026 by Chloe Godding. You're welcome, Becky. Becky said, thank you for answering my questions. Of course, I don't mind answering questions. And like producer Donna just said, we do have a chat and chill coming up. So if you have questions for us, send them in. Contact us via our Instagram, Facebook. Email us at somebudgetstudios@gmail.com if you have questions. The chat and chill is just going to be an hour of us chatting and chilling. No good news apart from the good news of all of you hanging out with us. So, Alexander says, that was fun last time. Cool, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Alexander. Yeah, Discord. You can message us on Discord. However you want to get these questions to us, or, topics that you may want to chat about. We'll have producer Donna on chat as well. It won't just be me talking, so that'll be fun. And yeah, the chat and chill will be good. All right, back to the article. A Missouri police department is crediting a 4-legged friend for its help in reuniting a lost toddler with their family. Kansas City police responded to a call about a toddler wandering barefoot in the street last week. Officers began working to try to find out who the toddler was and where their family was when the dog kept nudging at the officers. The officers had a feeling the dog was trying to tell them something, so when it began to wander away, they followed it. The dog led officers to a nearby house, which turned out to be the toddler's home. The child was reunited with family thanks to the pup's help. Some heroes have 4 legs, police said on social media. Police are investigating what led to the incident. But there is a video on that page, and I again implore you to check out the video. It's very interesting. The dog is definitely doing everything it can to get the officer's attention, and sure enough, gets them to bring that toddler right back home. So, to the dog for helping the officers get the toddler back to its home. Cheers. Heckin' Good Boi. We actually don't have a Knicks News Discord. It's more being able to contact us on Discord if you have our Discords. Yeah, that is... We have a staff Knicks News Discord. It's basically where we communicate to get our episodes set up. Producer Donna and I might talk about that. I don't know. Would we do a Knicks News Discord? Would there be benefits to doing a Knicks News Discord? I don't know. Could be interesting, though. A lot of other, like, full-time... I'm not a full-time YouTuber, obviously, but I know a lot of YouTubers have Discords, so... We'll have to talk about that. Alright, this next article is a Not All Heroes Wear Capes article. I really like this one. So I will copy and paste it into the chat if y'all want to check it out. Producer Donna just said, "It seems like we need to have another meeting. Our list of let's talk about this is getting long." That thing is really good at flying. Gust of wind blows baby in stroller into Lake Michigan. Man helps save child. This was published to Eyewitness News 7 ABC on February 21st of 2026 by Trey Ward. A gust of wind blew a baby girl in a stroller into Lake Michigan on Wednesday afternoon. Police said the stroller with the 8-month-old fell in the water on Chicago's north side at about 3 p.m. Multiple witnesses on the scene quickly reacted and rescued the baby from the water, police said. The little girl was taken to Lurie Children's Hospital for observation and was initially listed in good condition, CPD said. Leo Cundiff says he doesn't even swim, but knew he had only seconds to act when he saw what happened. Her kid could have been gone, Cundiff said. I see a stroller getting blown into the lake and a lady screaming. Her mother was watching helplessly, he said. I can tell she was too panicked to do anything, so I was like, I guess I'm jumping in, Cundiff said. I wasn't going to let that baby die. That's crazy. Cundiff spoke to the sister station WLS-TV from his hospital bed following the harrowing rescue. Despite warmer air temperatures this week, Lake Michigan is still quite cold. I'm just glad the stroller was up, not face down, Cundiff said. The baby dipped under a couple times, but I was able to keep her up, and she was breathing and crying when we got her out. Other witnesses helped them back onto dry land. I hope she has a really cool future, and I'm happy I was there, Cundiff said. Cundiff says he's in the hospital for heart monitoring and hopes to be released after an overnight stay. Becky says, poor mom, I would have jumped in after the baby too. I think many of us would. I can understand the paralyzing fear of something like that when you get that adrenaline dump and the fight or flight goes off. And there's actually the third response. So it was really cool. I was reading an article and I think I watched a show too on it that was about fight or flight or freeze. There is a third response where you are so overwhelmed by a situation that you just do nothing. And I can imagine that this poor mother might have been in that situation. But to Leo Cundiff, who saw this go down and jumped into frigid Lake Michigan to rescue this child. Not all heroes wear capes. Cheers. All right, last thing we have to talk about tonight is a Sweet Tub Teddy update. Now, back on our March 2nd, 2025 episode, we shared the story of Sweet Tub Teddy. Yeah, it was a while ago, March 2nd of 2025. We talked about Sweet Tub Teddy, who's a 6-year-old who was born in England. And he was angry when he found out that the plastic tubs that are filled with candy, which are popular during the holiday season, are not recyclable at curbside in his area. So in 2023, he set out to keep as many of them as he could from going to the landfill, and he collected 358 tubs. He stepped up his efforts in 2024, establishing a goal of 500 tubs, and he smashed that with a final record, or a final count, of 2,598 tubs. He was aiming for 500, he did 2,500, almost 2,600. In our year in review episode, that was at the end of December of 2025, we talked about Teddy, and that he'd set a goal of 5,000 tubs to collect over the winter holidays. So he's stepping up his game. Wanted 500, hit 2,500. Wants 5,000. The BBC reported this week that Teddy absolutely demolished that goal and collected a record-breaking, for him, 11,233 tubs for recycling. 500, 2,598. 5,000, 11,233. He would 100% do the challenge again, said Teddy, hinting his new goal might be 15,000. My ultimate goal is to stop plastic pollution completely, he said. This is a 6-year-old. This is a 7, he'll be 7 soon. This is an almost 7-year-old who's saying, my ultimate goal is to stop plastic pollution completely. What 7-year-old says that? This is insane. Producer Donna threw in, these tubs are melted down and used to make park benches. It's a reminder. Yeah, they're melting these down and they're making park benches out of them. And this is the 3rd time we've covered Teddy. Like, this kid is on a roll. I could probably save all of this from landfill. Imagine what we can do next. To the companies to make the tubs, he pleaded. To the companies that make the tubs, he pleaded, please make all these tubs into cardboard. This kid's wild. It's really cool. All right. On that note, that's everything we've got. 7 articles and a follow-up. It's really good stuff. Really great stuff tonight. Thank you all again for tuning in or catching the replay on the Nick's News YouTube channel. Again, we're live every Sunday, with our next episode being on March 1st of 2026. We encourage participation, so by all means, if you feel inclined, you can message or post suggestions for news brews, shout-outs, news quotes, and especially good news articles that we can share on future episodes. If possible, if you send a bunch of articles, please spread them out across our 4 major categories, which again are science and technology, health and medicine, flora and fauna, aka plants and animals, and wholesome notes, the really nice stuff we like to end on, like dogs leading police officers to show where toddlers live, follow-ups of children who are performing ecological acts of salvation by collecting plastic bins and, just being able to give. When you have things to give, just giving. Those are really cool stuff. That's really cool, Wholesome Notes. You can message us on Facebook or Instagram, or email us at somebudgetstudios@gmail.com. Links are in the description of our videos. Feel free to like, subscribe, or comment on all our content across all of our platforms, including Facebook and Instagram, YouTube, of course, and TikTok, to get good news and joy out into all the algorithms. We are attacking all the social media: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. We're on all of them, providing unique content to every single one of them. So check them all out. We really appreciate everything. Please, no SEO improvement advertisements. We're not interested. We're doing all of this word of mouth, and y'all are the ones who continue to drive Nick's News and continue to spread us and continue to see growth across all of our platforms, which is something amazing. It really is incredible. We don't do crazy things. I don't do crazy animatics or anything. We have really good graphic art, and we have really good news, and that's what we're working with. So as always, thank you all again. I love you all. Have a great night, and I will play us out.